Hello everyone. Today in this the lecture 6 we are going to discuss the CDMA based on system based on the IS-95. So what is the CDMA? We have it's a application of the direct sequence spectrum. We have seen it how it was applicable in the direct sequence spectrum. Now in the frequency Hopf spectrum, as we know that the CDMA has been based on the frequency Hopf spectrum also. So as it was one of the application part where it was more of the not as stagnant as the what we used to use in the direct sequence spectrum. So which we used to use it for the mobile application. As we know, the CDMA application is for the earlier we used to use for the mobile application, as it was the name suggested that the code division multiple access time. Now what is this the CDMA based on IS-95? We'll come back to it. The direct sequence CDMA has been adopted as one multiple access method for digital cellular voice communications in North America. This has been adapted as one of the multiple access method for the digital cellular voice. What we used to use as the normal mobile communication, the cellular communication, it was utilized in the North America. This first generation digital communication, cellular communication, was first developed by the Qualcomm company, and it has been standardized and it has been designated as IS-95 by Telecommunication Industry Association, TIA. In short, we call it as a TIA. What we have in our India, the TRI, Telephone Rules and Regulation Authority of India. Like that, they have Telecommunication Industry Association in the America, and they used to use in the 800 megahertz and 1900 megahertz frequency band, the spectrum what we used to use on the which we has to be designated for this kind of the CDMA, which was based on the IS-95. The nominal bandwidth used for transmission from a base station to mobile receivers forward link is 1.25 megahertz. From a base station to the mobile receivers forward link is a 1.25 megahertz. They used to use this base station to the mobile receivers from the normal to the mobile. What we have a mobile thing, the bandwidth what we use, it was a 1.25. For example, base station is like a towers, and from there we used to use the mobile receiver. What we used to have a mobile cell, and separate channel also with a bandwidth of the 1.25 megahertz. With a bandwidth of a 1.25 megahertz is used for signal transmission from mobile receiver to the base station, like a reverse link. So one, the mobile receiver to mobile is a forward link, another from mobile receiver to the again the base station, what we say as a towers, as a reverse link here. The signal transmitted in the both forward and the receiver links are direct sequence spectrum signal, and they have a chip rate of 1.2288 into 106 chips per second. In short, we can say it as a 1.2288 mega chips per second. It should be 10 to the power of 6, not 106. Okay, sorry, 10 to the power of 6 it is. So now, after we looking at this forward link and the base link, so we have to analyze how it is going on the process there. Okay, this is we have a two parts here. The one is the forward link and is the reverse link. From a forward link is from base station to the mobile receiver, and then the reverse link is from mobile receiver to the base station. Now first we look into the forward link. So we have a modulator, a block line from the modulator for the signal transmitted from a base station to the mobile receiver. So you can see it here, base station to the mobile receiver. The speech encoder, okay, the speech encoder is this is the speech encoder which has is a code excited with a what we use the coding things is there. The speech encoder, what is there is a code excited linear predictive coder. So it is like a code excited linear predictive coder. We call, in short we say it as a CELP, that generates the data at a variable rates of a 9600 to 4800, 2400 or 1200 kilobits per second. Okay, if it is here described in the 9.6, I have mentioned it here in the 9600. So that's the difference here. Don't worry about it. 9.6 kbps is nothing but 9600 bits per second, where the data rate is a function of the user speech activity in a frame interval of a 20 milliseconds. So data rate is a function of the user speech activity in the frame interval of only 20 milliseconds. Okay. So then the data from the speech encoder, so what is the data what we are giving is from the speech encoder is encoded by a rate 1/2 the constant length of L is equals to 9 convolution code. So here the user speech interval, the data frame is of an interval. The frame which is designed will have an interval of a frame intervals of a 20 milliseconds here, and data from which the speech encoder is encoded by a data rate of 1/2. Okay, this is what the convolution code is. Then the data rate at the convolution encoders are the 4800, 2400 or 1200 bits per second, and repeated with either twice or 4 times or 8 times to maintain a constant bit rate of 9600 bits per second. So it has to be maintained such a way that the data rate, so that it has to be equal to the 9000. So sometimes 1.2 into 4 times, 2.4 into 3 times, so 4.8 into 2 times. So that has been multiplied so that it has to be made the standard data rate of a 9600. Now this encoded bits for each frame are passed through the block interleaver. So this is what it has been set to the 9600. Now after what the data rate of 1/2 by encoded by 1/2 rate, and the sequence length of a convolution code length of L is equals to 9, and equalizing this, whatever the data rate is the equivalent to the 9.6 kbps, and it is sent to the block interleaver. Okay, it is sent to the block interleaver, which overcomes the effect of the burst errors, which is that may occur in the transmission channel. Burst errors is like all the data, whatever the mixing or the some noises, everything, or the data compression, all what is occurring. So it kind of like a burst error. So it's like a balloon pressing too much and it will start to burst. So that's the concept what we are using it here. The data bits at the output of the interleaver, which is occurred at a rate of a 19.2 kbps. So here the data rate has been increased, are scrambled by a multiplication with the output of a long code, with the output of the long code generator, which a period n is equals to 2 to the power of 42 minus 1, 2 to the power of 42 minus 1, whose output is decimated by the factor of 64 to 19.2 kb chips per second. Kb chips per, here bits per second, here chips per second. Okay, it's like the additional power which has to be provided, that long code generator, like what we used to use a PN sequence code generator, here we are providing the long code generator. Okay, and it is provided at a rate of a 64 to 19.2 kbps. It has been increased, kilo chips per second. It has been increased there, which was at a 64, it has been increased to 90.2 kilo chips per second. The long code uniquely identifies a call of a mobile station on forward and receive link. So this is what the code which is going to identify from where it has been generated, and which has to be provided with the forward and the reverse link. And each channel, so it gives a channel there. So for example, if this tower is there, 110 towers are there, among them one tower will be allotted to one call, and another second call for second user, third slot for third user, like that. Each channel is user is assigned with a Hadamard or a Walsh sequence. We say Hadamard or a Walsh sequence of a which is the length of a 64. There are 64 orthogonal Hadamard sequences assigned to each base station. Thus, there are 64 channels available. So among this is what we are doing. The channels what we are doing here, the data and what is the long code to identify a mobile call is been sent to the Hadamard sequence. So out of that 64 channel available, it is going to divide that two Hadamard sequence, one at the transmitter and other at the receiver, and one receiver is used for the paging purposes. Hence 61 channels are used for allocation to different users. Out of 64, one to a transmitter, one to receiver, one for paging, all the collecting the data we say, and 61 channels are used for allocation to different users. Each users using the assigned Hadamard sequence, so whatever the call we have identified, the long code sequence is been given with the Hadamard one assigned sequence, multiplies the data sequence by assigned Hadamard sequence. So it's going to again the multiply with those things. The resulting binary sequence is now spread by the multiplication with the 2pn sequence. The spreading of the sequence has been done. 2pn sequence of length n is equals to 2 to the power of 15. This creates in phase I and quadrature phase Q signal component. This creates in phase I and quadrature phase Q signal components. Okay, then this is what we can see, I phase and Q phase. This is similar as to the QPSK what we have done. Okay, this is what we have done. But it is the length of n is equals to 15, remember. Then this signal I and Q components are filtered by space band spectral shaping filters. Here also the pen provided here. The signal for all channels are transmitted synchronized so that in the absence of the channel or multipath distortion, other signals received at any mobile receiver does not interfere with them because of the orthogonality of the Hadamard sequence. So whatever the signal has been there is been particularly parallel to each other. It has been parallel to each other. So that orthogonality element is not been provided. So that what it calls the interference of the signals is been less here in this forward link. So this is what the advantage of the Hadamard sequence. Now, so we have done with the forward link. Now we'll go back to the how it is going to back again. We go back to the reverse link here. So this reverse link we can see here for a lower speech activity, output bits from the convolutional encoder are repeated either 2, 4 or 8 times. Either 2, 4 or 8 times. The coded bits rate is 28.8 kilobits per second. The coded bit is again the same thing what we have multiplied that 2, 4, 8 is been again the repeated, that is again we have done, it's been again divided back there, it has been done with a 28 point, the coded bit rate is at 28.8 kilobits per second. For each again the 20 millisecond frame what we have initially given, that 576 encoded bits are block interleaved and passed to the modulator. The pass to the modulator. This is what the modulator we have. Again that code has been multiplied with the later, which has been 60 m is equals to 64 orthogonal signal set of a Hadamard sequence, each of the length 64. The same again has been given here. Thus a 6-bit data block of a data is mapped into one of the 64 Hadamard sequences, into the Hadamard sequences here. The signal is been spread by the output of the long code PN generator. Again the same thing what we had generated there. the sequence, the P and I, again the I and P here, I and Q. So here again, which is been filtered by the baseband spectrals, again that we have done the spacing filter and then pass out to the minor. So we can observe it here in the I phase is directly given to the baseband filter. Here some kind of a half bit delay, half chip delay is there, not a bit, chip delay is there here, which is multiplied to the baseband shaping filter here. Then a carrier generator which has been multiplied and nullified, and that we have got from the output CDMA signal. So this usually the output of the demodulator usually fed to the Viterbi detector, whose output synthesizes the space signal. And also here the demodulator employs a non-coherent detection, or the demodulation we say, of a m is equals to 64 orthogonal Hadamard waveforms to recover the encoded data bits here. So usually it act as a like a, we can shorten say it's like an offset QPSK signals here. This act as an offset QPSK signal, so it has to be concerned here. Okay, thank you.